Thank you. Well, it's great to be here, and thank you so much to Synergy and to Sean Broxton. It's an honor to speak before TEDx. It's tough to follow a cosmic journey through the universe, but I'll do what I can. I'm talking about reinventing the campaign. And there's a rule in political communication that you don't talk about your mistakes. What you do talk about is the great good that you've done for the community, the jobs that you've created, and the people that you've helped. But what you don't talk about are your mistakes. I want to talk about a campaign where there was a brilliant young woman who flipped that on its head, and she talked about her mistakes and reinvented the campaign. She reinvented the message. And there'll be other people talking about social media today, but I'll leave that to them. But this is a campaign. This is about reinventing a campaign's message. And I want to talk about a little case study of a race in Peoria, Illinois. The district, it was a state house race. The district is majority white. It's a Republican district. And it was held by a guy called Aaron Schock, who some of you may know. Aaron Schock is a Republican. He is, two things distinguish him in Washington, D.C. He's the youngest serving member of Congress, and the press has gone gaga over the fact that he has six-pack abs. And so it's amazing what D.C. loves. And now I want you to imagine that you're a media consultant. And I'll tell you the two candidates in the race. One was a woman named Joan Krupa. She's 56 years old. She is a real pillar of the community. She's a Republican. She ran a healthcare clinic that provided healthcare to the needy. She was the assistant dean of Bradley College, and her family had done a lot of good in the community. I'm a Democrat, and I was working for the Democrat. Her name was Jahan Gordon. She's 27 years old, brilliant young African-American up-and-comer. Jahan had come out of the primary with 3 negatives against her, 3 things that had come up and had come out of the primary, had gone into the sort of bloodstream of the political bloodstream in the race. They weren't factually accurate, but sometimes the facts don't matter. And when you're explaining in politics, you're often losing. One of the things that she was accused of was falsifying her degree, that she claimed to have graduated from college, but she hadn't. Well, the second thing was that she had been convicted of shoplifting. The third thing was that she, in the one job she did have on school board, she had been absent 30% of the time. Now, the campaign team was kind of in the doldrums with dealing with this. And we had to face up to some tough questions on how we were going to introduce Jahan. Now, Joan Krupa got off to a fast start. She was on TV 3 weeks before us. And if they're ready downstairs, I'll show you the very first ad that Joan Krupa ran.
I've seen firsthand that Joan Krupa is able to get people to work together to obtain quality health care for people who are underserved.
I lost my health care. Then someone told me about Heartland Clinic. It's been a lifesaver. Now 18,000 people are being helped.
Joan Krupa knows about health care.
Everything Joan has touched, she has transformed.
If Joan Krupa can do in Springfield what she's done in Peoria, Illinois will have healthier communities.
The way we achieve success at Heartland is my prescription for Illinois.
Great. That's Joan Krupa. I think she comes across a very likable person. As no doubt she's sincere, and she seems to have done some really good work. We're faced now with a problem. How do we introduce Jahan Gordon, who at 27 can't really talk about youthful indiscretion the way, say, George W. Bush did when he talked about his younger years? Well, we decided to tackle it head on. And Jahan was going to have to talk about her mistakes from the very beginning of the campaign and then in the end, right to the very end. And in the process, she turned it from a weakness into a strength. Here's the first Jahan ad.
The important thing about mistakes is that you learn from them. The lessons I learned served as motivation to dedicate myself to our community and work with young people to make sure that they stay in school and make the right choices.
Jahan Gordon served in President Clinton's AmeriCorps and works to help kids succeed in school and give back to our community. Now she'll go to Springfield to fight for us.
I'm going to be fighting for middle-class, hard-working, middle-class families, people who feel like they've been forgotten.
Jahan Gordon, families first for a change.
Now, when I met Jahan, I found she was very charismatic, and I hope that comes through in the video there. We've condensed now to just, I'm condensing an 8-week TV campaign to just a few highlights, a few TV spots. Imagine now it's 2008, it's late September. We just did some poll, we would just come out of the field with a poll, and we're 20 points down. The Dow is 2,000 points down, and there's a real sense of crisis in the country. We're so far behind that we realize that we now need to play a little offense. And in our own research, we found that the one weakness that Joan Krupa had was that when she served on the city council, she had raised taxes and fees 10, 11 times. And that was going to be our opening to play some offense. If we can show the next ad.
Meltdown. Who's going to fight for families in Springfield, Joan Krupa or Jahan Gordon? As a board member, Krupa raised taxes and fees on regular families 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, nope, 11 times. And while she was raising your taxes, she voted to raise her pay twice. Joan Krupa, higher taxes for you, higher pay for her. Jahan Gordon, families first for a change.
Well, the Krupa campaign was a very good one, and whilst that TV ad had hit the air, there was mail that was being delivered in people's mailboxes that had a similar message, and it was on this tax message. And as a Democrat, it's always really nice to attack a Republican as being sort of weak on taxes. The Krupa campaign came back, and they were quick, and they came back with this spot.
As a Democrat who served with Joan Krupa, it's so unfair what they're saying. She has shown a deep concern for people in this community, particularly those most in need. She taught inmates at our county jail. Joan helped start the first pre-K program for children at risk. And as the leader of the Heartland Clinic, she brought health care to 17,000 underserved people. Joan Krupa is not an enemy of this community. She's our champion.
Joan Krupa for state representative.
Not a bad ad. You're using an authentic testimonial from a Democrat defending Joan Krupa, the Republican. I thought that was a pretty good response from her. It's now about 14 days before the election in October of 2008. There's a real sense that I think the Krupa folks must have realized that Jahan is now on the move and that the numbers are narrowing. Our own polling shows that we're down now just 8 points. We've moved a lot. Now they finally launched the ad that we expected, the attack ad on Jahan. Let's watch that.
Seen these? They are a window into Jahan Gordon's true character. Arrested for shoplifting. Gordon's excuse? If she had known she would run for public office someday, she wouldn't have done it. Gordon didn't pay her shoplifting fine for 8 years. Funny how she finally paid it 2 weeks before Election Day. In her one elected job, Gordon's missed 30% of her school board meetings, and she was caught in this campaign falsifying her college degree. We have enough people of bad character in Springfield. We don't need another.
Yeah, we were like, wow, that is a brutal, brutal, brutal ad. But when you're explaining, you're losing, and the fact that the facts weren't true doesn't really matter because it's now the end of the campaign, and the campaign is now getting into a death grip. We had one card up our sleeve, and the pundits had written off this race right from the beginning. There was no chance that Jahan, she's just too young, it's a majority white district, Joan Krupa's been around for such a long time. Everyone had written off the race. And Joan Krupa had sent her a message, a little handwritten letter after the primary saying, listen, Jahan, you're clearly a rising star and you're going to be really, really big one day in Illinois politics. And I just want to let you know that I will never attack you personally or professionally. Well, that gave us an opening. Let's watch the next ad, the final ad from us.
Joan Krupa's vicious personal attacks on Jahan Gordon. Surprised? You would be if you read the letter Krupa wrote Gordon that pledges, I will never attack you, personally or professionally. Gordon's admitted mistakes and taken responsibility, but Krupa, the worst of the old politics, attacking Gordon to cover up her own record of raising taxes and fees on working families 11 times. That's the real mistake. Krupa, when she promises you something, you can't trust it, even if it's in writing.
So both campaigns were now in this death grip, going down to the wire, them attacking us and us responding that way. And at the end of it, despite being outspent by 25%, Jahan Gordon was elected with 52%. She'd come back 30-odd points, and she became the rising star that Joan Krupa predicted. And I think the message in Reinventing the campaign is authenticity and admitting the mistakes, admitting your mistakes and humanizing the person is more important than ever. Thank you so much indeed. I appreciate it.